Israel has shown that we have learned the lessons of history. When enemies vow to destroy you, believe them. When enemies build weapons of mass death, stop them. I want to thank President Trump for his leadership in confronting Iran's nuclear weapons program. He has made clear time and again that Iran cannot have a nuclear enrichment program. Long live Israel, and long live America. Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They've backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons. In recent years, Iran has produced enough highly enriched uranium for 9 atom bombs. 9. In recent months, Iran has taken steps that it has never taken before, steps to weaponize this enriched uranium. And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival. 80 years ago, the Jewish people were the victims of a Holocaust perpetrated by the Nazi regime. Today, the Jewish state refuses to be a victim of a nuclear Holocaust perpetrated by the Iranian regime. Now, as Prime Minister, I've made it clear time and again, Israel will never allow those who call for our annihilation to develop the means to achieve that goal. Tonight, Israel backs those words with action. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear enrichment program. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear weaponization program. We targeted Iran's main enrichment facility in Natanz. We targeted Iran's leading nuclear scientists working on the Iranian bomb. We also struck at the heart of Iran's ballistic missile program. Last year, Iran fired 300 ballistic missiles at Israel. Each of these missiles carries a ton of explosives and threatens the lives of hundreds of people. Soon, those missiles could carry a nuclear payload, threatening the lives not of hundreds, but of millions. Iran is gearing up to produce 10,000 of those ballistic missiles within 3 years. Now just imagine. Imagine 10,000 tons of TNT landing on a country the size of New Jersey. This is an intolerable threat. It too must be stopped. Iran is now working on what it calls the new plan to destroy Israel. You see, the old plan failed.
Meanwhile,
Iran and its proxies try to encircle Israel with a ring of fire and to attack us with the horrible attack of October 7th. But the people of Israel, the soldiers of Israel, rose like lions to defend our country. We crushed Hamas, we devastated Hezbollah, we hit Iranian proxies in Syria and Yemen. And when Iran directly attacked us twice last year, we struck back inside Iran itself. Yet in defending ourselves, we also defend others. We defend our Arab neighbors. They too have suffered from Iran's campaign of chaos and carnage. Our actions against Iran's proxy Hezbollah led to the establishment of a new government in Lebanon and the collapse of Assad's murderous regime in Syria. The peoples of those two countries now have a chance for a different future, a better future. So too do the brave people of Iran, and I have a message for them. Our fight is not with you. Our fight is with the brutal dictatorship that has oppressed you for 46 years. I believe that the day of your liberation is near. And when that happens, the great friendship between our two ancient peoples will flourish once again. I want to assure the civilized world, we will not let the world's most dangerous regime get the world's most dangerous weapons. And Iran plans to give those weapons, nuclear weapons, to its terrorist proxies. That would make the nightmare of nuclear terrorism all too real. The increasing range of Iran's ballistic missiles would bring that nuclear nightmare to the cities of Europe and eventually to America. Remember, Iran calls Israel the small Satan. It calls America the great Satan. And this is why for decades, It's led millions in the chance of
Trump has
death to
warned
Israel
Iran
and
that
death
it has
to
a maximum
America.
of 2 weeks to avoid possible
Today,
U.S. strikes.
Israel is responding to
Trump's
those
comments come a day
genocidal
after
calls
he said that he would
with
make
action
a decision within a
and
fortnight
with a call of our
on
own.
whether to take military
Long live
action
Israel
against Iran.
and long live America.
I will stop Iran
or could you strike before that?
from getting nuclear weapons. And we won't be using a man like Secretary Kerry that has absolutely no concept of negotiation, who's making a horrible and laughable deal, who's just being tapped along as they make weapons right now.
This is quite interesting. The U.S. President Donald Trump and Israel Prime Minister has vowed to stop Iranian nuclear threat amidst rising tension. Tensions in the Middle East have escalated dramatically following renewed vows by the U.S. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to stop Iran's nuclear weapon program. The statement comes after fresh threats from Tehran, in which high-ranking officials reportedly call for destruction of both the United States and Israel. We will never allow Iran to possess a nuclear weapon, never. The world cannot afford another Holocaust. We stand shoulder to shoulder with Israel in preventing the Islamic Republic from carrying out its genocidal threats. That is coming from Mr. Donald J. Trump. Speaking at a joint press conference, Prime Minister Netanyahu emphasized that the Jewish state would take any necessary action to deter itself against Iranian aggression. Wow, that is quite interesting. We have not seen the end of these escalations. We will never allow the Iranian regime to carry out another Holocaust. The supreme leader of Iran must be comforted and forced to abandon his nuclear ambitions. We will not stand by while genocidal threats are made against our people. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah, has repeatedly denied the legitimacy of Israel and has escalated anti-American rhetorics. Iranian state media has aired provocative messages suggesting that both the US and Israel could be annihilated if conflict erupts. Wow, what could have given the Iranian or Tehran regime such audacity to have challenged the military capabilities of Israel and America? Well, that is quite very mischievous and unfortunate anyway. This is not just posturing. Israel has previously demonstrated its willingness to strike unilaterally, as in the 1981 attack on Iran's Osweiler reactor. Now, with rising threats from Tehran, preemptive options are being considered more seriously than ever. International observers fear that the region is on the edge of a dangerous escalation while diplomatic channels remain officially open. There is growing skepticism about the viability of negotiations, especially as Iran inches closer to weapon-grade uranium enrichment levels. Wow, that is quite unfortunate. With both Washington and Jerusalem declaring that all options are on the table, the coming months may prove critical in stepping the future of Middle East security and the global nuclear order. Israel understood the potency of such threats and understood that Iran could be reckless in handling such matters. At the slightest provocation, if the enriched nuclear reactors are being established, nothing could deter Iran from deploying it against the US and the Israeli state. And as such, they have to take preemptive measures to ensure that such threat method targeted at them does not materialize, because Iran is indeed committed to such nuclear enrichment programs that could be translated into warheads, nuclear warheads, and eventually deployed or projected against the Israeli state, thereby inflicting irreparable damage or consequences, just as they claim that the entire Israeli occupied territories should be evacuated, because they are going to make that inhabitable for the Israelis in the future, meaning that the enrichment of the nuclear program was to be used against Israel or to annihilate the Israeli state. And as such, Israel has vowed to take on this war of survival, and as such, they will not deter, of course, from deploying every means possible to bring the Tehran regime to its knees by all means possible. We continue to follow this developing story for now, reporting from our international desks.